Hello everyone. Thanks for again listening on into my YouTube channel. Again, my name is Casey Ejindu. I wanted to kind of share a message with you guys today that I hope would resonate with someone and help somebody's life be much better than it was yesterday. Just to kind of tell you guys a little bit about me, as I'm going through this journey with you guys and building you guys up for what I want you guys to be in your future. The one thing I'll tell you is it was very rough for me. It started off really tough for me. I remember as a child, I actually had a chance to, grow up with some kind of good family structure. I was fortunate enough that my grandma and my mom were there for me. They helped me build me to be a person that could be valuable to society as far as with knowledge. And then I turned 10 years old and I got sent off, to boarding school. And going to the boarding school was really rough. There were times where I would not have anything to eat for days at a time. There were times where life was, a daily beatdowns, daily struggle, abuse, all kinds of different abuse, forms of abuse. And each time it was just me negatively telling myself that the world hated me, that everything was going wrong, that the way life was unfair, that I was just born to suffer. And I just kept pushing this negative message of myself. And then when I actually got a chance to make it through that experience of the school, my grandma would, pick me up and she saw that I was so thin. I was almost 200 pounds when I went into the school. And when I got out, I was only 146 pounds. I was a pretty thin person and had this huge belly. If you guys ever see some of these Africa commercials they use to try to show kids they're malnourished, that was me. I had that same physique and that same look because of all the pain and everything that I had to go through. And when I got out, I got to experience poverty as well, even in my 20s. So when I came to US, I came in with nothing. I just had the goal and the hope to one day become somebody. And through that process, I went through a lot of hardship. Potlucks at my job when I used to have a 9-to-5 corporate job was a good way to get myself fed. I was blessed. I met so many wonderful people all through my experience working in corporate America, from a good gentleman named Ray to a lady named Shari, and all these people helped me. They helped feed me. As far as lunches, I always knew that they were going to help me buy lunch. So all I had to worry about was my breakfast and my dinner. And I would do this very crazy thing where I would go to McDonald's and I'll buy, 2 sandwiches for $2. They had it for like $2.07 back then. $2.14 because it was $1.07 per sandwich. And I'll buy these 2 sandwiches and I'll have one for breakfast. I have the other one for lunch, for dinner, because I'll be fortunate that either Shari would feed me or Ray would feed me at work. It was just that crazy because I was making just enough money to pay my bills, but I wasn't making enough money to be able to really feed myself. But where I'd come from when I was in Africa, where I was eating roach soups, and these are like meals where you actually can see the roach in there. You just kind of take it out and put it to the corner and eat the rest of your meal. That was a step up for me. I had a car, people that I knew didn't really have cars, and some of them had jobs that were older than me, and I was like, I had a car, I had a place to sleep. So even though I was going through this poverty, I still had the experience that I was blessed and I was fortunate. And as I kept going through that journey, as I kept experiencing all of these things, what I then found out was, that in this life, the most important thing is the love that you have for yourself, and then the belief that you have in yourself. Things didn't turn around for me for a long time. I mean, I'm talking about I got to be 35 years old, almost 36 years old, when my mother passed away, and that's when things took a much bigger and better turn for me. But this is what really happened. In 2017, 2 years before she died, I had gone through an experience where I started paying attention to motivational videos. I started actually listening to a lot of these, real estate seminars and things to kind of tell me how to be a better person. And as I did that, as I learned these things, as I got a better understanding of myself, it took me 2 years from that time to actually see the results. But in the same breath, my mother passing away was like the catalyst for me to be who I needed to be. Because at that point I noticed that it could be taken away from me at any time. Like, I can literally close my eyes right now and that's it. And when I understood that there wasn't any time, I kicked things into full gear. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be somebody who I could be, proud of. I wanted my mother to be, able to be proud of me, even though she was no longer with us. But I still wanted her to show, that I made it. And so when I took the steps, and when I made the decision to be wealthy, and I made a decision to change my life and to improve my finances, one of the things that I did was I understood that it started with me. Okay? So when I understood it started with me, then the question now became, what are the things about me that I don't understand that I need to have a better understanding of, that would allow me to now go out there and be valuable to the world? And when I understood that it started with me, the next thing that also came with that was there's a creation process that also involves. Meaning, this might start with you, meaning that, for example, you understand that, okay, the genesis of your success starts with you, with your thoughts, with the way you think, with the way you expect the world to be. But at the end of the day, there's also a process that involves you taking action and doing the work so you can see the results. So when I understood that it started with me, I kind of give myself a way to look back. And I went back to when I was a child, from that 10 to 16 of my life, where I had a lot of trauma, where I was beaten every day. And this was expected. I was always expected to get a beating. Like, it was normal to get a beating every day. And I'm not talking about a beating with just a stick. I'm talking about a beating where you don't know what's gonna hit you. When I was expected to probably not eat for 2 days, where I knew that having a headache, and I call them these hunger headaches, and hunger headaches are very different from any normal headache. A migraine is nothing compared to a hunger headache. So when I had these hunger headaches, when I had these experiences, and then when I was in the US and I had this thing called 110 or 101, meaning you eat a breakfast, you might skip lunch, you eat dinner, and these are days where Ray or Shari wouldn't be at work, or maybe they just didn't, have enough from home to bring over to work so I can, have something to eat. So when I had those experiences, what I understood was I was able to tap into those experiences to give me that oomph power to know that I could keep going, like to take the action that I needed to take. So the first thing that started was that decision to say, I never want to be in a position where I have to feel this much disappointment to myself, this much, lack in myself, and I have to make sure that I understand what I had to do. So the first thing I did was I changed the way I thought. Because the way I'd always thought in the past was, man, if I didn't have it in front of me, then I never had it. And then as I evolved, I started saying that I had to create it and create the environment and the experience to be so real that there was no choice for it but to happen. So once I created that experience, like I said, it took me 2 years to understand that process. But during those 2 years, nothing changed with my approach because I believed in my success, that it was imminent. It was going to happen. It didn't matter what else happened around me, it was still going to happen. So when my ex-wife and I got divorced in January of 2019, and when my business got defrauded in February of 2019, February 22nd of 2019, and then when my mom passed away on April 6th of 2019, my thought patterns were still the same. I still expected myself to accomplish my goal. Nothing had pushed me away from my goal. I mean, I think it's so funny because my son actually made a statement one time and it hit me. It was like, wow. He said, Dad, it seems that you're just always so focused on your goal, your goal, your goal, your goal, your goal. It's like, sometimes you just have to, kind of maybe relax and enjoy life. And I was like, wow, maybe, and I understood he was right. Yes, I'd been so focused on this goal that I could have neglected, some things with him. So I had to adjust that. But in the same process, I also had to remember that I am that focused on my goal that my own, at that time he was like 10 years old, could notice that about me. Everybody around me knew that, hey, this guy had a vision, this guy had something about him that he wanted to accomplish, and he wasn't going to get moved off the path. So, adversity still happened, tragedy still happened, but my thought patterns never changed to fit those adversities or those tragedies. Instead, my thought patterns stayed on track to what I wanted. And then in 2019, when I had my first wholesale deal that I made some success on, I made $30,000 on my first wholesale deal that I ever worked on. And the very next deal, I made $40,000. So I made a total of $70,000 in a span of 6 weeks. And that allowed me to have the first capital to be able to truly invest in other things now that I'm seeing so many more returns from. So in order for me to have gotten to that point, it took me believing so much in myself that I created that reality, and that reality was actually something that happened. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is you can do the same thing. Your situation growing up could be worse than mine, could be just the same situation as mine, but at the end of the day, if you truly believe in your goal, you understand that there is a path that you are here on earth to do, and the world needs that path. The world needs you to bring your own flair and what you provide to us. Let me give you something that's so crazy, it's mind-blowing. When you see two twins that look exactly alike, complete identical twins, right? Their facial features could be extremely identical to the last detail. But at the end of the day, these twins have different characteristics, such as their fingerprints are different. If one of those twins performs a criminal activity, they will not go and arrest the second twin if they did a fingerprint analysis. That's how insane our universe is. So what I'm trying to say is there's 7 billion people on this earth. There are thoughts that go through all 7 billion people on this earth that is completely different. What is unique to you is unique to you and you alone. I have no control over that. I can't even know what you're thinking unless you're willing to share that. So when you have something that is unique to you and you keep that away from us, the day that you leave this earth, unfortunately, you take that with you. And now what you've done is you've robbed the earth of an opportunity to meet somebody so amazing and so great. So what I'm asking you to do is change your thoughts. For anybody who this message is for, change your thoughts. Believe in yourself and then show us who you are. We want to see you. We want to know you. We want to get an opportunity to see that wonderful thing that you bring into this world. And then we want to get to experience it. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen to this. I'm excited to get to continue to know you guys through this journey. If you have anything that you guys want to get to know more about, please like and subscribe. Leave your comments down below, and I'll always be glad to respond to as many people as I can. Thank you again.